Hello, my friends. My name is Igor Shnurenko. I'm a writer from Russia. In the mainstream media, Russia has been effectively cancelled. But I want to tell you that these people still exists. I wrote the books The Demon Within, Anatomy of Artificial Intelligence, Homo fractus, Hacked Man, Kill the Leviathan, World Without People, Survival in the Era of Total Digitalization, Solar Raven, and some others. It may very well be that the digital Leviathan that rules the world today is on its way to suicide. Most of humanity, apparently, is ready to die with him or her. What should be the actions of the awakened part of the people, those who do not want to jump off a cliff together with a herd of pigs? I would like to share with you my thoughts on this matter. First, let's figure out what or who the digital Leviathan is. This, in fact, I write in my latest books, Hacked Man and Kill the Leviathan. First, the Leviathan is a mighty biblical creature that inspires fear and horror. No man can subdue him. In the book of Job we read, can you draw out Leviathan with a fish hook or press down his tongue with a cord? Can you put a rope in his nose or pierce his jaw with a hook? Will he make many pleas to you? Will he speak to you soft words? Will he make a covenant with you or take him for your servant forever? Will you play with him as with a bird, or will you put him on a leash for your girls? Will traders bargain over him? Will they divide him up among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with harpoons or his head with fish and spears? Lay your hands on him. Remember the battle. You will not do it again. Behold, the hope of man is false. He is laid low even at the sight of him. On earth there is not his like, a creature without fear. He sees everything that is high. He is king over all the sons of pride. According to the views of Gnostics, Leviathan is so massive that it contains the entire space of the material world. In the Old Testament, in Isaiah's chapter on the salvation of Israel, we read, in that day the Lord will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, with his fierce and great and mighty sword. Later, the English philosopher Thomas Hobbes described the Leviathan as an artificial person, I would say an AI, an artificial intelligence type of thing, whose body is made up of all the bodies of its citizens, who are the literal members of the Leviathan's body. The Leviathan is the state, and the head of the Leviathan is the sovereign of the state. What I mean by the digital Leviathan? The digital Leviathan has grown out of the global financial system, and with the help of computer technology has absorbed politics, life organization, and management systems. The digital Leviathan is an invisible state of artificial intelligence where AI acts as a hegemon, and natural intelligence through systems of positive and negative feedback is simultaneously a subordinate class, a proletariat, and a caste of priests connecting the virtual world of this state with the real one. The priests of the digital Leviathan perform rituals and make sacrifices, human sacrifices, in the hope of using the power of the virtual state they created to establish dominance over the real world. These sacrifices pay off a hundredfold, and as a result, natural intelligence, at first bored, then half asleep, devoid of will, is carefully castrated and used by the ruthless matrix. Gradually, step by step, the priests lured people's trust and persuaded them to give up part of themselves, the non-material part, in exchange for comfort and material well-being. They picked up these parts and secured them until there was practically nothing left of a person. In an old fairy tale, palaces built by magic during the night disappear in the light of day. Virtual treasures will one day also be reset to zero, and people will remain evicted not only from their own homes but also from themselves. Actually, this is exactly what is happening today when people have lost the rights to their own bodies and their own souls. Now let's ask ourselves where the digital Leviathan came from. He was born out of anguish and the spirit of gain. The invisible financial field today determines the fate of people and civilization. It deflects the guides of human action as a magnet deflects the needles of a compass. As a result, people do not do what they could and would like, not what would be best for them and for others. As a result, waves of aggression or apathy roll over entire nations. The basest instincts wake up, go into the invisible pole. People abandon their families, loved ones, cities, and countries, cruelly deal with their dreams. Perhaps someone has already explained the spirit of profit in terms of evolutionary theory. And yet, any version of realism, this belief that there is nothing but what we can eventually feel with our hands, very quickly runs into a dead end, explaining why human beings are so eager to equate everything with everything. Why do they want to make 2 out of 1 and out of 2 1,000 or 1,000,000? Because they cannot even imagine this million. After all, it is impossible to put into your head, say, a factory or even a small shop. The only adequate way to accumulate great wealth is to accumulate it in your brain, memory, or imagination. However, as wealth immediately becomes invisible and intangible, it immediately disappears. Imagine your own a gold mine in Chile. At the same time, you have never been to Chile, or maybe you will never be there. But through the medium of not even papers but electronic, virtual, imaginary medium, agreements, you feel like the owner of these mines. But can't I imagine myself the same as you imagine yourself? What is the difference between us? I can be younger and prettier than you. I can sit in this cafe with a beautiful girl, not owning anything in the virtual world. The owner who in fact cannot prove to himself that he really owns something, cannot but feel longing, dissatisfaction, although the point is only that he takes seriously his imaginary possessions. But this melancholy has only to be awakened, kindled. One has only to give it free rein, and now he will be dissatisfied forever. Perhaps this longing gives rise to a thirst to add something else to this imaginary gold mine, another imaginary mine, or another. Or is it no longer a mine because you won't see it anyway, but some kind of a token of an imaginary confirmation of ownership? Here, imagination may not be enough, but we're talking about a realist who somehow managed to achieve submission from real people through manipulation in the virtual world. The imagination needs some kind of crutches, a support, and here there is nothing better than numbers. The number glues the world, gives a single image to the diverse, brings together the incompatible. The number is finally reassuring because if there is 222, there must be 223. However, numbers, if you start to think of them as something material, can lead to a state of even greater melancholy. The numbers who are subject to you, those 888 that you possess, cause an unquenchable thirst to subjugate all numbers. Owning 1/10,000th of a Bitcoin is humiliating if you know how much there is in the world of Bitcoins. As a person, you still remember that you were created in the image and likeness. Your imagination, your consciousness is able to cover the whole world. That is, you are equal to the world. And here it turns out that you are worth how much? With what to compare? In the Internet of Things, a well-placed refrigerator will earn more than the whole of you. Embracing the Milky Way, the constellation Ursa, Major, Libra, and everything beyond them, whatever they're worth. If you are countable, and the world is countable, then you become incalculably miserable. You start demanding digital equality, and then you become a digital beggar. To even the odds, you can call for digital justice, which alone can give you peace, but never does, because you make mistakes all the time, and the analog beings make them too. You're angry at people of flesh and blood. You would like to cancel them all, because they always confuse your plans. You insist on the digitalization of everything, but any detail that escaped digital attention can bring down a carefully erected structure. Imagine that you have achieved something along the way, that you have climbed to the digital peak, that is, you have accumulated untold wealth in your imagination, and you can confirm this with rows of numbers, endlessly growing numbers. At the same time, you vaguely feel that zero is wandering somewhere near these rows of numbers, and all this wealth of yours can be reset to zero in an instant. You are scared, and you call on some digital god who could stand up for you. I could control the transformation of the real world into the virtual, and it smooth capture the transition into the holes of your imagination. You created this god first on paper in the form of columns of numbers taken into account, control, different. You come down, but there is always something that is slipping out of control. So you and your people, the ones to whom you have passed on your digital paranoia, are seeing to it that this digital god develops. He slowly gains power, becomes iron, and now people obey him. Back to the biblical Leviathan, becomes iron. Many even enjoy it. And then you notice that people, little by little, begin to succumb to you. Your digital paranoia does not cause them questions. In fact, they begin to adjust. Maybe because the numbers have already equalized everything and everyone little by little, which means that you have zeroed out everyone who could oppose you, everyone standing in the way. Thus, from anguish and dissatisfaction of your consciousness, an entity is born that hates all independent, uncontrollable, unpredictable consciousnesses, which feeds on your anguish and grows itself due to this. This entity needs a living thing to turn it into a number, to make it dead, sucking out energy for new expansion, growth, new victories. While you have sheltered this entity, it lives in you, it spares you, but over time it spreads throughout the space that it wants to control. A digital god is a financial god. The people throughout history have never stopped praying to financial gods. Therefore, you feel that you are close to victory, and through the digital god, you are able to conquer the real world. This is the background, the preliminary action that preceded the birth of the Digital Leviathan. My research shows that the Digital Leviathan, like the monster created by Victor Frankenstein, is already out of control. Although this virtual entity is not at all like the hero of Mary Shelley's book Sown from Corpses. But why do I think this entity should seek to kill itself? After all, it wasn't created for this purpose. We'll talk about this in the next videos. In conclusion, I will say that my books, The Demon Inside, Anatomy of Artificial Intelligence, Homo fractus, Hacked Man, Kill the Leviathan, World Without People, Survival in the Era of Total Digitalization, Sunny Raven, are available so far only in Russian, at the link in the description. The first book has, however, also been translated into Czech, Slovak, and Bulgarian, and should be published in these countries, hopefully soon. It's also been translated into English. I will notify you when it is finally translated. I'm currently preparing another book, Fundamentals of Systems Thinking in the Age of System Cancelling. For book purchases and support, you can write to me at the address in the description. I also provided below an address for Bitcoin support. All the best. Goodbye.